All right, June Graham.
Thanks. Thank you, Lane. Thank you for having me. It's so nice to meet you, and I'm so super excited to be here and get to share with you. And I was so flattered that Lane would even consider me, for talking about this. But so just a little about me is, as Lane said, we met at a staffing company, and I was kind of one of these professional job hoppers. Like, I never liked to work. I always wanted to find the next thing, and whatever job I was in, it just was like, it's great, but this, I was a great interviewer. I could go for interviews and I'd always get the job, but then when I got the job, I was like, oh, now I gotta work. It was much more in the chasing after it. But it kind of went from job to job, and I had great jobs, but they just, like I said, were never what I really wanted to do. So I was always searching for something. So I wrote my little so I could keep track of things. But anyway, one of the ways that I would search for a job would or what my career would be go through the phone book. I'd go through it and I'd be like, could I be this? Could I be that? And then kind of imagine what would it be like to do that? Oh, that's okay. Mine goes off all the time. But so I would kind of one of the things was a massage therapist, and I thought, can I do this? And then I thought, no. Or can I be a pharmacist? No. And I would just talk to so many people, thinking about what could I do? And then I was just, it would just be, I'd pray and pray, and then one day I just woke up and I just knew it. I really prayed about it quite a bit besides doing my search. And the search is also, looking at things that you think you could do, but then imagining what your day would be like what it would be. So, but through my prayer and all that, I just woke up one morning and I just kind of knew, it was like a bolt of lightning, and it was jewelry. I could do jewelry. I had never made a stitch of jewelry before, but I just knew that I could do it. And I was I could teach myself how to do this, and that nobody could take it away. Because my past jobs, although they were pretty good jobs, they were mostly sales oriented, so you're only as good as your next sale. And I didn't really like working, so if I was gonna stay in those jobs, I was gonna really have to work and do the work. And then I was like, this is that's hard. I don't really want to do that. So when I came up with this, I thought, this is something that I can do and I can make better just for my dedication and putting my work in, and nobody can take it away. And then soon after, it was right around 9/11, so it was 2001, and and the job that I was in advertising for a wedding magazine, and the economy just, our main business was hotels and restaurants and those types of businesses, and it just went down. And then I was like, oh, this is the time. Life is short. This is the time just to try it. So I quit my job. And I should have waited, because they give severance packages to everybody, lay people off, 30 days later, and I'm like, oh. So no income, and just quit my job and decided to learn how to make jewelry. And I started taking classes. I went to everything that you could do about jewelry. I went to community college, books online, went to the library. I figured out how to do it. I was just anything I could do. It was on drugs. That was my drug, is figuring out how to do it every minute that I had. And a few weeks ago going into that, or it was more like a couple months, I was realizing you kind of need money to live besides funding your dream. And so I decided to look for a little part-time job while I was doing this. And the first thing that popped up when I went on Monster.com was a jewelry company. And it was just like that. And I called, and this was 2001, so it was crazy, because it was a part-time job. You could make your own hours. You could tell them when you wanted to work, even if you didn't want to work 5 hours a week, or if you wanted to work 30 hours a week or more. And it was $15 an hour. It was how perfect is this that I could do it, and it's at a place where I can learn. So I got there, and they had me pulling orders in their warehouse, and I wanted about to stab my eyes out, because it was these tiny little numbers, and you have to get this and go to the product and pull the product, and I was like, this is not fun, this is work, and this is hard, and plus the little numbers and matching it up. And so I went to the lady who hired me and said, I really want to do this as a job. I want to make jewelry. I want to do that. and can I be in the design department? Can you put me there? And like a week or 2 weeks later, they moved me into the design department. A day later, they had me designing stuff for dealers' trunk shows. And I had that was like within 6 months, and I had really no experience. I was still figuring out how to do it, and I hadn't sold a piece of jewelry to anybody. I'd just like given it away, and I was surprised people wanted it at that point. I was like, hey, happy hands at home, just like kind of making crafty stuff. But my goal was to make it look professional and be something that people wanted. But I didn't know the first thing about pricing it, or your labor that's involved, or the cost involved, and that's a lot that goes into having a business. But so I was so fortunate to get to be at this company where I got to see it. I got to see it firsthand, and then I got to be in the design department with these creative people that showed me a lot. Like, it was crazy because I came in there and I was thinking I could make a necklace a certain way based on my self-teaching. And then I saw what they did, and I was like, oh, I better fix it before they catch on that I don't know what I'm doing. And but I was doing it, so I worked there for 6 months, learned a ton about how to buy stuff, how to do this, just the practical part of it, plus the selling part. Then I decided, because I hated working for other people, that I was going to go out on my own. So I made all my little stuff. I had a good collection, and I thought, well, where can I sell my stuff? And I was like thinking, and I went to a salon suite, the salons, and they have like a whole bunch of little, each person has their own station or whatever, their rooms. And I went to the manager and I said, can I set up a table and sell? And how does that work? So I ended up having to give them 10% of my sales. But my first sales, and I hadn't sold anything before that. So my first day I sold $496. And I was like, I'm rich. I can do this every, day, which, in reality you can't, because you have to make so much and you're just a one woman, doing everything. But I was like, this is incredible. I could do this, and I could, make money and blah, blah. And I was just thinking about all this stuff, and it was really exciting, but it was a lot of work. So from there on, I started doing more shows. I started selling to people. I kind of got more gutsy, because before I didn't want to sell. Like, I was kind of, is it even worth somebody wanting to buy it? But once I had that kind of validation, I felt like, yeah, it is pretty good. And these things are valuable, and it's cute, and people want, and and I'm good at it. So I started selling more and more, and then somebody suggested go to Market Center, which Market Center, for you who doesn't know, that's where stores will come in and they'll buy from designers like me, clothing, handbags, shoes. They, small and big alike, that they display their stuff in a showroom, and like a buyer from, any store, small to department stores to dealers, will come in and buy your line. So that happened, and then I started getting some clients. Soon after, I just happened to just be in the right place at the right time. I met a friend who's like loved my jewelry, introduced me to the producers of Good Morning Texas. I started doing their style segments. I would go on like at least once a quarter, and like tell them what's in style for jewelry, and that really boosted my business quite a bit. And from there, I was doing really well at the markets, getting accounts, and then I went to a different, from the market, I went through a trunk show at another store. So a trunk show is just where you bring your stuff, and the store invites their customers, and then they buy, and you kind of split the profits. So one of these trunk shows that I did, I met a clothing rep, and she's from LA, and she's like, I love your jewelry, you should sell it. And I was like, yeah, I need somebody to go out there and sell it, because I was just doing the Dallas market. So she took it, showed it to a rep who'd been in the industry for like 15, 20 years. And before she even said, this is my, I want to show you this, the lady was like, who's this jewelry? I have to have it. So she ended up selling my line for me. And from there, immediately I got into, big stores like Fred Siegel, which is, and you might see it in like those In Touch or TMZ, like they say that, like that was like, really a big account. And then I got to all the casinos in Las Vegas, like Bellagio, MGM, and I got Bloomingdale, I got, really some big accounts, and I was like, oh my gosh, like they like me, they really like me.